Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving right into the super important world of early childhood education. We're going to look at how it's being totally reimagined for the 21st century, and we'll be leaning on the fantastic insights of Dr. Sabuj Ahmed. Okay, let's kick things off with a number that might just blow your mind: 700. In just the first few years of a child's life, their brain is an absolute powerhouse. It's forming about 700 new neural connections every single second. That incredible speed means their environment, their relationships, their experiences, all of it, are literally building the architecture of their mind for the rest of their life.
So when you see this incredible burst of growth, it brings up a really big question for all of us, right? In a world that's constantly changing with new tech and new challenges, how do we make sure we're building the strongest possible foundation for our youngest learners? I mean, think about it. The world our kids are growing up in, it is fundamentally different from anything that's come before it. It's shaped by technology everywhere, globalization, and whole new societal needs that demand a completely new way of thinking about their earliest school years. And you know what's so cool? Neuroscience is now proving what great educators have suspected for ages. These early years, they're not just a warm-up for real learning. They are the most critical window of opportunity we get. The blueprint for a child's entire cognitive, emotional, and social future is being laid down right now. So with the challenge this big, how do we even begin to respond? Well, the foundational answer isn't some fancy new app or a high-tech gadget. It's about getting back to the basics, the science of how kids' brains are actually wired to learn in the first place.
And the first core principle is something that looks so simple on the surface, but is actually incredibly powerful. And that's play-based learning. Now, this isn't just about letting kids run around and have fun. It's a really smart approach that uses play as the main engine for discovery and understanding. This is where we really get to the heart of it. The idea that play is the work of childhood. When you see a kid building a tower, they're not just stacking blocks, they're running a little physics experiment on gravity and balance. When they're playing doctor, they're practicing empathy and complex communication. This is where the real learning, the deep learning, happens. But look, brain power is only half the equation, right? The other huge piece of the puzzle is all about social and emotional development. I mean, you can have a brilliant mind, but if you can't work with others or manage your own frustrations, you're going to be pretty limited. This is where something called social emotional learning, or SEL, comes in. It's a framework for building these 5 key skills. It's about teaching a child to recognize, hey, I'm feeling frustrated, that's self-awareness. Then to take a deep breath instead of yelling, that's self-management. And then to try and understand why their friend might be upset, that's social awareness. These skills are absolutely crucial for success, not just in school, but in life. Okay, so we've got our foundation, play and social emotional skills. Now, what does the modern classroom actually use to build on that? Let's talk about the adaptive tools and approaches that are responding to the world we live in today. And of course, we have to talk about technology. It's maybe the biggest adopter of all, but man, is it a double-edged sword. On one hand, you've got this incredible promise of personalized learning and access to, well, the entire world. But on the other hand, we have to deal with the very real perils of too much screen time and the risk of a digital divide that leaves some kids behind. So this is the big question for all of us, parents and educators alike. How do we find that sweet spot? The goal has to be using tech as a powerful tool to enhance learning, not as a replacement for that essential, hands-on, messy play and face-to-face interaction that we know are so critical for development. And here's another tool that's absolutely vital in today's world: cultural responsiveness. Our classrooms are beautifully diverse, and our teaching has to reflect that. It means making sure every single child feels seen, valued, and included. Their cultural backgrounds shouldn't just be footnotes, they should be woven into the very fabric of the learning experience. When kids see themselves in the stories they read, their engagement just skyrockets. But you know, all the best tools in the world don't mean much without the right people using them. And that brings us to the human response, the critical support network of educators and parents who really bring all of this to life. And you can really see that shift here. The role of a teacher has totally evolved. They're moving away from being the sage on the stage who just lectures to becoming a guide on the side who helps kids discover things for themselves, who nurtures their curiosity and helps them build a real love of learning that lasts a lifetime. And that support system doesn't stop at the classroom door. It's like Dr. Ahmed says here, when parents and teachers work together, when they're on the same team, it is a total game changer. That partnership is proven to boost a child's confidence, their resilience, and yeah,
their academic success too. All right, so let's put it all together. You take the science of how kids learn, you add in these modern tools, and you wrap it all in a strong human support network. What's the end game here? What are we actually trying to build? Because it's not just about the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s anymore. It's so much bigger than that. We're trying to build a versatile set of skills for a future that, let's be honest, we can't even fully predict. And it really boils down to these 3 core building blocks for the future: creativity, so they can imagine new solutions; critical thinking, so they can analyze information and solve tough problems; and adaptability, so they can thrive no matter what changes come their way. These are the skills that will prepare them for anything. And let's be really clear, you don't build these skills through rote memorization or bubbling in answers on a standardized test. No way. You build them by doing, by getting your hands dirty, by asking big questions, working on cool projects, and yes, by engaging in that same open-ended play we started with. And that really brings us to the final and maybe the most important thought here. Understanding what our children need is the first huge step. But the next, much harder step is asking ourselves if our current systems are truly set up to provide this for every single child, no matter their zip code or their background. That's the real challenge.